So I thought I'd make a new recording this week on the trades that I've seen this today. Today's the 17th of November, and been looking at the technicals first and spotted two trades. So what we're looking for is a bullish candle in a supply zone, which we have here on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, and an oversold RSI and some divergence here. This is also, I'm grouping these together. So there's Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, and also on the New Zealand CAD as well. So again, conditions here, bullish candle in a supply zone with an oversold RSI and some divergence here. If we zoom out from a sort of fair value point of view, we have the top of the range here and the bottom of the range down here. So we're at good price. As far as fair value would be somewhere in the middle point around here. So we're buying at, well, we're selling at a good price. Lots of distance here where it can go down to, and also if we look at the Aussie CAD, it's the same, where near the sort of highs of the range. So both trades good positions to be getting in at when we're looking at it from a technical point of view. So with that said, let's look at the fundamental aspect of the trade. So first look at the Australian dollar. I think both will be probably grouped. You'll see why the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar are grouped. There's a big piece of news which shows in this article. So obviously there's the pandemic that's going on at the moment. So bad news as far as Australia, reports of new COVID infections. This is happening all over the world, and I guess if you're looking at it versus another currency, yes, it does have an impact, but at the same time, all countries around the world are going into lockdown, having their sort of restrictions and lockdowns put in place. So although it is sort of a short-term sentiment, negatively sort of thing, it's also, I'll say not as bad, but not as impactful as it might appear to be. But what the news is that we're looking at this article is the announcement over the weekend. So Australia, a development that, if we start from the beginning, actually, the Australian dollar starts the new week on the front foot despite news of a fresh COVID outbreak. So this is what I said before in South Australia, a development that foreign exchange markets appear willing to overlook amidst the rising stock markets and optimistic comments from the Reserve Bank of Australia's Governor Philip Lowe. Adding to the positive sentiment towards the anti-Canadian currency is the weekend signing of the RCEP trade deal that analysts hope will ultimately prevent the development of a full-out trade war between China and Australia, and will therefore contribute to an improved outlook. So this is major news. The Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar, both big commodity currencies, and do the bulk of their trade with China. The fact that there was the chance of a full out trade war with China would have been devastating to both countries and economies. So the news that this deal has now been signed is major news for the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar. So positive news in that sense, and also, yeah, it's just really positive news for both currencies. So on the other side of the trade is the Canadian dollar, which I think if we look at on here, I mean, again, it is a commodity currency also, and it's doing quite well relatively. But if you see here, there's nothing which sort of implies gaining strength or anything that will sort of, you know, offset the positive news of the New Zealand dollar and the Australian dollar. So yeah, just it's more just fair weather news, I guess, about the Canadian dollar. So judging by that, I'd say that the news for the New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar outweighs what's going on with the Canadian dollar. So definitely worth a look and a trade, and which is what I've done. If we go to here, I've already made a trade earlier. I was just conscious of time, so I've made a trade already, both on a 2-day. So New Zealand CAD and Aussie CAD trades were both placed. But this video was basically just to talk through the fundamental aspect, I guess, of it more so than anything else. Obviously, the technicals were there, but I think the news, the massive news of Australia signing that deal and joining the other countries is just a good sign and a good sort of adds to the confluence of taking the trades as well as having the technical analysis there. So yeah, that's my trade, my 2 trades that I've taken today, and that's it for my video today.